Hey everyone, week one in the books, so let's get into it. I'm Mark Hespen. Follow me on all social media at Mark Hespen, MarkHespen. We are doing a week one Chicago Bears recap. I call the week one recap defense wins championships. So I think that's the best way for me to put week one for the Chicago Bears season in the books. I'll start really with a huge shout out to the defense. Tyreek Stevenson, Jalen Johnson was incredible with a game-sealing interception late in the game. A couple pass breakups as well. Obviously, a huge kudos to maybe the newest Chicago Bear, Terrell Taylor, the defensive lineman. He was electric. The strip sack fumbles, probably the biggest play of the game, besides maybe the punt return. To set up that big score for the Bears as well. Really. Overall, the punt block, touchdown return for Owens. I mean, those two plays absolutely saved the Chicago Bears in week one against Tennessee. Some of the things I want to jump into just in the overarching view of my thoughts on the Bears 1-0 start after a 24-17 win at home against Tennessee is, listen, if you'd have told me 48 hours ago, Bears going to win 24-17 at home, and hey, defense is going to look really good, I would be like, sign me up. Absolutely sign me up. That means Eberflus, his coaching staff, his coaching style is finally starting to infiltrate down into this organization. We hadn't really seen that until the last couple weeks of last year when Montez Sweat arrived. And now you add in Taylor, the linebackers, TJ Edwards, 15 tackles. I mean, unreal. He played fantastic. Edmonds and Edwards are an incredible duo. The back end was fantastic. Gordon, all of them. Obviously, you add in Tyreek Stevenson, I already mentioned Jalen Johnson. Kevin Byard had a really solid game in his first game in Chicago. So Eberflus really showed up on that side of the football. That's a huge moment for this Chicago Bears team because he's kind of been the biggest question mark, Eberflus, for this team, right? We all say the offense, the pieces, the talent's there. Can the guy coach? So the fact that they showed up and played really well after a bad start, you're down 17-0. And the defense didn't point fingers. The defense decided, hey, let's just carry this team. That was the most stereotypical Chicago Bears win I've seen in a long time. I've seen that win so many times before where the offense stinks, they do nothing, and the defense and special teams carries them to a victory. So it felt very familiar, this Chicago Bears win. I'll also say, I think what really needs to be mentioned for Eberflus and this Bears team is the way that he was aggressive in the second half and said, you know what, on some crucial third downs, we're going to send the house. On the interception that was returned for a touchdown, that was created from bringing pressure and bringing guys. So I love that Eberflus is saying, you know what, we're going to be aggressive. Maybe this is now his style of defense, right? Not a bend, don't break defense, a go mess things up defense, be aggressive defense. So I really, really want to give huge love and shout out to them. Overall, let's turn to the offensive side. Obviously, extremely frustrating and disappointing. We're all excited for Caleb Williams. We all want to see Caleb Williams pop off. We all want to see the Heisman Trophy winning Caleb Williams. And it just looked a little bit like he was overwhelmed. And I think there's two main reasons for that. Number one, it's overwhelming being your first start in the NFL with all that pressure, number one overall pick. And number two, man, was the interior of the Bears offensive line challenged. Obviously we love Tevin Jenkins. I think Jenkins has a chance to be a really great player for this organization. But the center and the other guard position, it just was a rotating door at guard. Center was overwhelmed at times, and I think that he faced too much pressure up the middle. Credit where credit's due to a really strong defensive line for Tennessee. Is it them just being that good, and maybe the Bears offensive line, when they play more average or slightly above average defensive lines, will shine, and this is just a great defensive line that took advantage of a Bears weak interior? Maybe. That's kind of fingers crossed what I'm hoping for, right? Because right now I'm really concerned about that interior portion of the Chicago Bears offensive line. The one thing Ryan Poles has done a great job of, obviously, evaluating some talent, bringing in guys, getting a Keenan Allen, making the DJ Moore trade, and resetting this. The fact that he's an offensive lineman and the interior of that offensive line is still as shaky as it is it's concerning, right? It's something that he has got to continue to address. They are anything but solid in the interior of the offensive line. Tackles, I thought, played okay, played well. Darnell Wright in year 2. I think there's still the sky's the limit for the outside of the offensive line. Tight ends, blocking, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, some nice stuff there, but the interior just really struggled. Caleb as a whole, I also think there was some spark, right? I was watching a ton of highlights over last night into this morning. One of the things I watched, like when I watched the Panthers versus Saints highlights, it really stood out to me Bryce Young, just like how underwhelming it is, even in year 2. Like just there's nothing of a spark, right? Sailing passes, unathletic, no arm strength. Caleb, it's not that, right? Caleb held on to the football, no ugly turnovers, didn't seem like he panicked at all or made any sort of really horrible bad decisions like we're used to with Mitch and Justin, where it's all of a sudden a panic into a fumble or a panic into a bad interception. Caleb avoided all of that, which kudos to Caleb. And then like late in that middle of the third quarter, he rolls out to the right and on the move throws a dart to DJ Moore for a first down on a 3rd and long. You see it right there, right? You see that spark. You're like, oh, okay, there it is. It's still there. I fully expect Caleb Williams to have more games like this, but I fully expect him to also show incremental growth throughout the year. There's just too much talent in this team for it not all to come together. Speaking of the talent, though, I do want to push back on Shane Waldron. We know now as Bears fans that Shane Waldron has kind of the keys to the offense, right? It says Eberflus is going to run the defense and manage the team. This is Shane Waldron's offense. From what I've seen from Twitter accounts and people I follow that I trust that really dig deep into this, right? I'm more the opinion side of sports media versus like the actual stats and data. But from what I've seen this morning, Odunze, Allen, Moore, Swift, Cole Kmet, your 5 best offensive pieces, right? The 5 guys you've invested the most, only played 10 snaps together. That's concerning. Cole Kmet, 1 target, 1 reception. That's concerning. Keenan Allen, 11 targets. Love that you're focusing in on your new future Hall of Fame wide receiver, but 4 receptions on 11 targets. He also had a bad drop that didn't help Caleb at all. So I think that there are some game plan designing that I didn't love. I want to get this right here as well, this stat right. Caleb Williams ran the ball 5 times for 15 yards. He was the Bears' 2nd leading rusher. DeAndre Swift only 10 carries for 30 yards. That's not good enough. And beyond that, DJ Moore, Velus Jones Jr., Travis Horner, and Khalil Herbert combined for a total of 7 other carries for 39 yards. Not good enough. 69 yards rushing from everyone who's not your quarterback, and your quarterback only have 15 yards. That has to improve to help the young quarterback. You've got to have a good run game. You paid DeAndre Swift a lot of money. Let's get him 15, 16 carries. Let's commit to running the football. And out of good formations, there's a couple runs out of the shotgun and stuff, zone read stuff that just went nowhere and wasn't good enough because the interior of your offensive line struggled as well. So maybe put that tight end at the backfield, run some power football, and not doing it always on first down. So the run game has to improve to help Caleb open things up. 14 of 29, 93 yards. It wasn't great, but you saw the spark, right? And he didn't have any of the back-breaking fumbles or turnovers that we're used to seeing out of young Chicago Bears quarterbacks over the last 6 years and the 2 previous regimes. So all of that's positive. In the end, 1-0. Can't beat it, right? You're through 1 game. The best you can be is 1-0. The Bears are 1-0. They avoided major injury. They avoided ugly turnovers. And it's great to see Chicago Bears football feel like 2018 again, feel like the end of the Lovie Smith era, where your defense and special teams are unique and they're gifted. That's Chicago Bears football. Now we need the offense to meet us at 2024 football, and this team could be really, really special. Early in the season, I know, but the makeup is there for them to be special. And that's kind of what we want as Bears fans right now. Defense wins championships, 1-0 this week. Defense wins championships. We all know it. As always, follow me on all social media at Mark Hespin. That's Twitter, that's Facebook, that's Instagram, and here on YouTube. Like and subscribe. We'll be doing this every week after Bears games the following day, kind of a breakdown, quick 10-minute video on my thoughts on the Chicago Bears. Don't panic. Sunday Night Football next week. It's going to be a big game.